of what we are doing. If we see, one year that we're really struggling on open-endeds, then we can pass that along, if the kids didn't pass the Keystone the first time, to our other math teachers who are doing the Keystone algebra and say, hey, based off the results here, this group really needs focus on this area. So those are the tweaks that we're doing at the high school. Mr. Stelvier's down at the middle school now this year, helping out with the algebra kids and geometry down there. So we're trying to kind of work that way down, and hopefully we're going to see those results, improve even more. Which is obviously the goal every single year is to get our kids where they need to be. But taking those results and trying to see where we can implement them each day is something that we do as a department, all the time.
How were this year's results compared to like last year's? Where were we kind of ranked? Were we similar, or were we
as far as Adams County is concerned, we're typically, if we're not first, we're one of those top in the Adams County. As far as York and Adams County, again, we're always top half. Us being at the top this year is, I don't believe we've been.
I think typically
we're top
fit area.
Yeah. So your Suburban's normally always up there and tough to beat. So we got these results and saw that, York and Adams County. It's good stuff for this season.
The kids in York Suburban, they have computers and they're before they can even walk.
They're doing a great job, whatever they're.
Yeah. Well, you guys are doing a great job too.
Yes.
Thank you for all your efforts. We're glad to see the academics are improving. They're getting even better. We're providing our students with a world-class education, and that's thanks to educators like you. So thank you all very much again. All right. With a tough act to follow,
I was
Mrs.
going to
Golden.
say, actually, I'd like to talk about a couple of random things tonight, but under the umbrella of professional collaboration. So this, I know Dr. Berrigan in the coming weeks is going to share with you some of our results from the middle school, and I'll just kind of preempt her presentation by saying I hope that you are equally as impressed by the results you see there and the growth you see, because we've made some pretty significant progress. So some of the things that we're doing to help that progress along and to continue it. Professional collaboration seems to be the theme for the past week or so at Maple Avenue. We've recently held our department meetings where we worked on curriculum revisions. Mr. Staub mentioned those open-ended responses. You've heard me maybe talk before about monthly benchmarking with our students at the middle school in ELA and math for their open-ended responses, helping them to understand how to address those sort of questions, but also build the stamina to get through them. Social studies in the elective departments, working on curriculum writing. Science was looking at some diagnostic data and working to develop a course that will help support the STEELS framework for our 6th graders. And again, you'll hear more about that in the upcoming CCMP meeting. And our learning support teachers worked on some structured literacy training. So that all happened during department meetings. We had our child study team meeting last Wednesday. So this is where parents and teachers can bring student names to the table, students that they are concerned about either academically, socially, behaviorally, mental health-wise. And so these aren't students that necessarily have IEPs, because those students already have plans in place. These are just regular ed students who might be showing signs of struggle in and out of the classroom. And we come up with strategies for how to support them. So we're currently supporting over 35 students in that process. Our school psychologists, our behavior specialists, intervention teachers all sit around the table to help come up with strategies for teachers to use in the classroom and to help monitor those students' progress. Also, we had grade level meetings. This is something newer to Maple Avenue in recent years. Since we're no longer on a teaming structure, as you know, we offer electives, and the schedule at Maple Avenue looks very much like a high schooler's schedule, but less year. And we wanted to make sure that students weren't falling between the cracks, so to speak. When students at the middle school used to be on a team and they had the same 5 teachers, had the same 90 kids, it was easy for teachers to get together and say, hey, have you noticed anything with Eric lately? And another teacher say, hey, yeah, I'm seeing, so without that teaming structure, and students could have multiple teachers all across the we got concerned that we weren't having consistent dialogue about students, so we're pulling together grade level meetings on a regular basis to not only talk about perhaps student concerns and offering support to students, but any other student behaviors or school climate issues that we're seeing across the grade level, just to make sure that we're all in the same room and we can hear each other talk and have a productive dialogue around anything, honestly. The last two things I'll bring up are sort of unrelated, but parent-teacher conferences are just around the corner. I am pleased to say that Maple Avenue teachers are full to the brim with parent-teacher conferences. Not only have parents followed the links and signed up for conference slots, but our teachers have been proactive about reaching out to the students and the families that they know they would like to meet with for a myriad of reasons. But so because of those things, in both directions, teachers are very fully booked on parent-teacher conferences, and that's a good thing. The last thing I'll say to you is I'm very excited. You may have noticed a last-minute addition to your agenda. Mrs. Caitlin Yablonsky's name appearing as for your consideration for our 7th and 8th grade science teacher. You know, a vacancy that we unanticipated had to fill after the start of the school year. So I certainly appreciate you considering this certainly highly qualified professional for that position. And also we have Mr. Tommy Morris on the agenda for your vote. He will be the long-term sub for Mrs. Spatero, our music teacher. The wonderful thing about Mr. Morris is he was the long-term sub for Mrs. Spatero last time. So for him to come back into this role, he knows the kids, he knows the schedule, he knows the curriculum, so we're very excited that he was able to rejoin us with that. So we've spent some time in the interviews and we're glad to have two very solid candidates for you.
Thank you, Mrs. Gould. Any questions from the board? All right.
Okay, thank you.
So much. Mr. Moran. Going strong with No Shave November, I see.
Just a little backstory on that, because it's very rare. For the second time in my 52 years. So, yes, No Shave November previously, and here. So, our men teachers over to the elementary school were really excited about the opportunity to pull the entire group together. So all the guys in the elementary school, we were going with No Shave November, and it's great in the morning because I don't have to worry about shaving. I just done shower. So, but other than that, yes, I'll be glad to shave here in a couple of weeks. All right, so my focus really, I just want to echo just with what Courtney, Nate, and us, the high school teachers. Just on a quick side note, you know, I'm a resident of the community. I've been associated with the district for over 30 years, or almost 30 years now. And 4 kids that are going through the educational system here. You know, the education that students get here in our district is without question first class. They get a great education, a great opportunity, and it's evident from what you hear on a regular basis. So I wouldn't live in the district if I didn't feel that way. And I know I've just been associated with those guys at the high school for such a long period of time, and obviously a chance to work with Ms. Golden and Dr. Becker consistently, and now my time at the elementary school. We are very fortunate, and we are very blessed to have the people that we do have working with our students. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for that. So my focus really is just going to be about iReady, again, connecting to some information that Dr. Berryman will eventually share in a future presentation of data. But I'm going to talk about 2 areas, just personalized instruction and data chats for their students, and then connect it to some MTSS at the end. So what does that really mean? So really, just their personalized lessons pathway for our students is based on their diagnostic test that they take at the beginning of the year. And again, based on their performance on that, they receive instruction appropriate to their skill level as they go from one bench part to the other. So what they're currently working on in their planned instruction is the instructional pieces connected to their skill level. That's important for students to maintain usage and performance as we go throughout the year to achieve and gain in that growth area of personalized instruction. So what does iReady tell us that students need to do? They recommend that students spend between 30 to 49 minutes of instruction on each subject per week, and that they pass with a 70% or above. And I don't think isn't necessarily 7% as a grade, the 70% of the lessons with a score for the time period that's being monitored. So how do we stack up at ACES? So over the last month, our students, again, focus K-5 at the elementary, our average time on task for each lesson, or for the week, would be 38 minutes per student. So again, our average lesson time on task, so time spent on those specific tasks, those planned instructional things, is 38 minutes per student, and an average pass rate of 90% with their math. So we're very excited for what kids are producing and what our students are accomplishing here. When we look at the reading side, they're also spending around 38 minutes as well. So again, that's in alignment with what the guide-ready professionals recommend. And our students are passing on an average lesson pass rate of 80%. So again, we're excited about both of those benchmarks, if you will, or criteria that's where we're at. So what do we do with that information on a continual basis? So between the administration, our building level coaches, and our teachers, again, we work on the different reports, summary reports that are coming through already, again, to help guide our instruction. You heard Nate speak about that. And the question was asked, well, what do we do that's going to be different? So we use those reports and that information to really guide our instruction. We're monitoring our students weekly to make sure they are spending the time on the task appropriately, and then we're monitoring their passing rates. We identify those students who are below that 70% threshold, and then that comes back to the teachers, and we have collaborative discussions about the trends we see in the data, and whether it's grade level teachers and or it's individual with a specific student, again, case by case. And one of the nice things with the system, it does create what we call these lesson alerts that automatically notifies the teachers when a student does need help or extra support to do the performance. Second area is really about that piece now, working, engaging their students in those data chats based on their diagnostic results and for their personalized instruction lessons. You know, teachers work one-on-one with their students, set monthly goals, provide targeted feedback on the skills in math and reading, and really empower them in the ownership of their own data. Again, you heard that really well spoken when Nate and Todd was clarifying high school. So that trickles down to all three buildings, middle school and elementary too. The data also helps us with our grouping of students. It helps us with our grade level planning, whether it's looking at prerequisite skills or how to scaffold that information. Again, it helps us guide our instruction of questions for our students through that lens of observation, reflection, and taking action, which is prevalent. We're looking through the growth mindset, so how are students growing in their performance individually, but also as a class. We look at growth areas. And really just the goal here is that students demonstrate success and improve in those targeted areas. The final thing I'd like to just conclude to, I'm going to give you two statistical numbers. At first it may seem like, ooh, that's not good, but really is, so just make sure you hear them. So I'd like to share that 73% of our students in reading and 77% of our students in math, and again, talking building-wide, so K-5, they, at the start of the year on that first benchmark assessment, was demonstrating that they are ready for grade level content. So they are ready for the content that needs to be taught and instructed during the course of the year. So really excited about that. I need you to keep in mind that, you know, when we talk about research-based criteria associated with educating students, some of you may be familiar, I know I've spoken to the board about the MTSS model before of instruction that's really is meeting students' academic, behavior, social, emotional needs. So in those three areas, tier 1 is where 100% of our students are really getting that high quality, evidence-aligned instruction that all students are entitled to, and they do receive here at Littlestown. Lessons are differentiated to meet the diverse needs of the students in the class, but the learning targets are the same for all, so all kids get there. So it goes back to all our students are ready for grade level content. Tier 2, if you're familiar with the model, talks about 15 to 20% of our students. What do they need? Those students need some type of extra focused support with their curriculum work. Some students may receive help, then master the skills or the benchmarks associated with the standards. So again, 15 to 20% of our students are going to need that type of support and help. Research clearly tells us that. And then the bottom tier, or the last tier, is really that 3 to 5% of students, and that's really our most intensive needs, intensive students. Those students may meet more frequently or for long periods of time. Think a little bit of like, these are some of the students that work under the umbrella of Dr. Piosky in our special education department. They also get more than one tier 2. Group size sometimes is smaller. Perhaps it's even more of a one-on-one, again, depending on the situation that's needed. And those students are continually progress monitored more frequently than our other students, and then we're making sure that their learning goals and their growth targets are being met. That's a lot of what we hear from Dr. Piosky, sort of under that umbrella. So I really just bring it back full circle. The conclusion here is to, I couldn't really be more proud, and just not the ACES staff, because I do have it saying ACES staff, but really the whole district staff, our students, our families. Sometimes we forget the importance of our families in that educational component. They're the ones sitting down at the kitchen table to work with homework and to spend that extra time with their students to get those lessons. There's no doubt to me that our buildings across the district are pointing their compass in the correct direction. We're heading north, and we're on the right path in the right direction of where we need to be. So think about what I had said about those two numbers. 77% of our math students were ready for grade level content, and 73% of our students were ready for reading level content to grade level. We are where we need to be. Are we in a perfect situation? No, but we're definitely heading the right direction. As students go through this K-12 experience, just echo again what Todd, Nate, and Justin shared. Our students get where they need to be. So I'm very proud of what goes on in the district. I'm very proud of what's accomplished from the leadership of Dr. Gray and that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Questions from the board?
I have a question. You talked about iReady. They were running what did you say, 39 to 40 minutes, somewhere around there?
An average of 38 minutes a student.
So you're saying they do that every week? How often? Once a week?
That's based on their weekly plan, yes.
On their weekly plan. So you're getting a lot of data if you're doing that.
Yeah, our kids are spending time in their plan instructional.
Is that one like a computer or a tablet or?
Yes, that is online based, but that's only one component that mirrors it and supports what we do in our tier 1 instruction, which is maybe you're thinking more paper pencil type instruction.
Yes.
So there is a nice balance between those two.
Oh, good. So we're able to harness that data now and really get down to, like you said, how things.
Yeah, we use that data to help drive our instructional decisions.
It really helps us a
for our
lot.
students.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I do feel pretty confident in what's occurring and what we're seeing as short-term results.
Great. Thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Moran.
Thank you.
We now recognize members of the public who have signed up to provide comment as stipulated in policy 903. Your name is called, please approach the podium and state your name, confirm you're a resident or taxpayer in the district, and topics of discussion for the record. Please direct your comments to the board as a whole, not to an individual. We ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. Privilege to speak may be interrupted, revoked, or recess of the meeting may be called by the chair if the speaker does not observe reasonable decorum and orderly conduct. Lane Sutton.
Good evening to the board. I'd like to talk about policy 320 and its effects on the employees of this district. I believe it's vital that employees of this district are able to freely express their opinions on social media or anywhere they choose when they're not within their official duties. Please let me give you an example. This is only an example, but here it goes. Let's say an employee working for the district has a school board member that's harassing them, and this employee goes to the district and speaks to the administration about the allegations, and nothing gets done. And then this goes on for almost a year, and then this employee is unable to reach out on social media and say anything about it. Then after almost a year of this, the employee decides to withdraw her children from LEFA, then resign from the district over the harassment. Then the family puts their house up for sale and moves away from the district. Now I ask you, What remedy do we give our district employees when something like this happens? Seems to be a no-win for the district employees. This policy says it's for free speech, but what it does is rob free speech from the very people we are supposed to protect. How is this helpful in any way? It's not. I would also like to address the shameful behavior exhibited by our interim superintendent at the last meeting. He began to take the high road and not divulge the solicitor expenses for the current lawsuit the school district is under, but then was bullied by Janelle Resser to do so, to which he relented and did. By doing this, you are intimidating a plaintiff in an active case against the district, and you let Janelle Resser, a defendant in the lawsuit, bully you to do so. Very, very poor judgment. It just shows what level this district will sink to go after residents they do not agree with. The fact that this district solicitor, David Walker, allowed this to even happen while he was sitting right there shows his lack of integrity and professionalism. And then in a recent meeting, you had the board president, Nick Lavelle, call the ongoing litigation frivolous. And then he doubles down when asked to strike it from the record. Shows me that this person isn't mature enough and worldly enough to have ever been voted in as president of this board. This bullying needs to stop. We ask better of our students, yet you all sink to new lows and don't set a good example for our students. Attacking a parent in this district should never be on your agenda. We can all agree to disagree, but the low blows are not acceptable. Again, I also see the recording device that is still outside the recording area. Now, if you believe in the recording guidelines that I myself believe are not legal, then you will move your microphone back to the corner where all recording and sound enhancing devices are forced to be. You seem to follow a policy of rules for thee and not for me. Another example of the districts that's way out of control. I remember the thousands of taxpayer dollars you spent on making these ridiculous recording guidelines, and yet here you are blatantly breaking them. Seems to me you all should be spending your time on things that truly matter within the district instead of trying to control everything. I understand transparency isn't your best practice, but it's time you start being transparent. This district is in the beginning of a superintendent search once again, and I feel all this micromanaging is going to stifle our abilities to get a really good candidate. Ask yourself, is this giant bag really worth the